I already did your stinking review. You can't do anything to it now, you bum. Go away.
Voyage Home was the fourth Star Trek film, but third in a storyline that was started by Wrath of Khan. Sequels aren't always used as cash-ins.
They can also be there to tie up loose ends from the previous film.
With Search for Spock, Spock's mind isn't all the way back, Kirk has to answer for all of the laws he broke, and as for Savick...
let's just leave her on the planet we start the film on. Goodbye forever!
Yes, the crew must now face the music back on Earth. But with the Enterprise gone, they must replace it with a new marketable toy.
Now we get to see this film's contribution to the Trek pantheon of supervillainy. A probe? Just a probe. Do we at least see who sent the probe?
Nope. So it's sent to Earth not to communicate with humans, but instead to a being that it spoke with long before we existed, humpback whales. But they're all extinct in 2286, and with the probe destroying Earth, Kirk and the crew decide to time travel back to when the whales still existed.
So another environmental message, huh?
Yeah, to be fair, the Star Trek franchise was always rooted in allegories of real-world issues. The difference here, however, is instead of a metaphor of whaling, it flat out is whaling. So what other reason should we set the film in the same year it happened to be made in? Going back to the TV series, it's the 23rd century, and yet they're embracing the 1960s culture.
With the films, however, they never really metafictionally acknowledged what decade they were made in.
So in a way, this film compensated for that by plainly inserting our crew in 1986 so they could react to the viewer's world. Then there's the cut and dry plot. I mean, Kirk practically sets a laundry list for the film to follow. Sure, you had conflicts sprout from each task, but they were quickly dealt with once each started.
So we have the character arcs to fall back on.
The Vulcan half of Spock's mind has fully returned, but not the human half. So he spends this whole movie gaining back what previously took 3 seasons and 2 movies to get. Kirk's arc is pretty much repetitive at this point. I must do the right thing when everyone's telling me not to, and then I'll love a woman. The rest of the crew each manages to at least have their own moment. Scotty gets to be a thespian, Sulu gets to fly a helicopter, and Chekhov gets to be injured so McCoy can criticize modern medicine. It makes them a bit more memorable than in their last couple appearances.
But what about a real villain?
I guess after 2 movies of the villain rubbing in Kirk's face how deliciously evil they were, we needed to take a breather and have a more ambiguous antagonist. Once the crew is back to the future with the 2 whales on board, and the probe finally gets to talk to them, it just leaves?
Why was it destroying the planet? What did the whales say to it to make it stop? Were we just not supposed to know? Is it just not supposed to be black and white like it usually is?
Either way, we get that precious status quo for the sequels I guess we needed. Overall, Star Trek The Voyage Home felt a little anticlimactic as a trilogy closer, but still is a welcome chapter in the ongoing saga with its own distinct identity.
Mr.GoodPlot.
That match, kid.
I'm going to leave you as you left me, as you left Mr. Cool. Trapped forever in a review you want nothing to do with. A review with no villains for you to talk about. Villainless.